Okay, this is my second video about structuring. Trying to explain what I'm going to do, which is to show you how sensitive the structuring variables are. Which is the thing that really causes the big change in IRRs or in bidding, in bids? Is it the DSCR constraint, the LLC, the debt to capital constraint, the debt tenor? Which is the big one? Is it the interest rate? If the interest rate is going up, remember I start screaming about this. When the credit spread is going up, they're forcing you to refinance, making a model when they encourage you to refinance, and pretending you don't refinance is kind of an idiotic thing to do that everybody does. Crazy. And then I'm going to also kind of show you the real and nominal carrying charge. Now I'm going to do a little bit of Excel here just because I haven't finished things up. Okay, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to be able to demonstrate. I'm pretending, oh, we are some kind of financial advisor. We want to show you, oh, this is no, it's not that bad an IRR actually. We want to kind of show you what happens if you put different DSCRs in, different balloon payments, that's next time, different debt to capitals, different debt fees, different interest rates, different credit spreads. What happens to the IRR, and why is the IRR changing with our nice little graph? And then I'd like to make a sensitivity chart and also one of these waterfall charts. The waterfall charts is my depression, because Excel made a pretty good waterfall thing, even though they screwed up about everything else. Now, what we'll do is make a nice little data table, and the data table will say, okay, the data table will have the DSCR constraint, the debt to capital, the tenor, the credit spread rather, whether we're increasing it or decreasing it, and I want to get a sense of which is the really important part and which is the less. And as usual, I start with a kind of base case. This time, since it's structuring, we have aggressive structuring, then a conservative structuring case, and we'll see just which of these things really matter. Now, in this case, I left it on something that has a goal seek to figure out what the IRR is, and instead of doing a goal seek here, so I think, oh, this target IRR already has a goal seek built into it. Okay, this data table, okay, which has the equity IRR that results, the average debt life that results. If you want to see all of the calculations, what you do is you go to the page called debt structuring, and it's really got, for the purpose of this video, it's got a very similar similar structure as the last video. I put some little more things with the sources and uses. There's a balloon tranche that don't worry about. There's the debt sizing, which is exactly what we did with the NPVs and everything else. And then we have a cash flow waterfall. We get the IRR on the equity, the PLCR and DSCR, and some debt lives. It looks like I computed the IRR once too much. Sorry about that. Okay. Now, to make a data table, if there is, and there will be a circular reference problem that I solved with a function, but if you solved it with a macro, copy and paste macro, then you'd have to redo the macro each time you do the data table. A basic data table wouldn't work in Excel, and the same, of course, happens with the goal seek. So here's how you make the data table. You can look and see, okay, how many scenarios do we have now? I added some scenarios. And the scenarios, how about this? Let's put Alt-EIS enter. Oh no! Oh, I don't know what I just did. Oh, God. Okay, so we have this many scenarios, and we make these things a range name, and then I start on here, let me put the start row, which is, we put a row here, and this is where we're all going to start. We just use the row function, and we use the column function. So if you start with a different row or a different column, you put it in. And then I put the result row. This result row, wherever it is, it's down here. I think I need to move that. This, I'll just call this the result row. Okay, and this is, right now it's row 51. Okay, and then if you want to make a data table, okay, I'm going to press edit. Now we're going to make two data tables. First, I go around the scenarios. And in one case, we'll do a goal seek. In another case, we won't. And then we go around and we put the, let's make this larger so you can see it. It's okay. We first assign the scenario number, then we do the goal seek if we want to. If we don't, let's make one where we don't. Okay, and I'm going to have to adjust something, and this is how easy it really is to make a data table with, so I'll put data table, how about no goal? And if you had a circular reference, copy and paste, you just put that right here where you put the goal seek. If you have, that's an enormous problem, of course. If you have a circular reference and a goal seek, then you got a little bit of more of a problem. You can solve it, but, and then I need to put the, we say this is the column, and then we call the other thing, I hope that I named the range, this was called the result row. Okay? I think you can press Alt F11 to get back. I just did. Okay. So, and I should have done this differently. And we put the, we just put this the result row. Okay, and I think the easiest way to do this is to delete this. We have, no, come on. And let's see how many columns we had. So we go across here. So, well, I didn't explain this well enough. I'm all self-conscious about all this stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 different columns. And so here's what we do. We go around the, however, 20, 30 scenarios. And then we assign the scenario number to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. This is a variable, and this is a range. We stick the scenario number in, and then we can do the goal seek or not, and then we put the output in. And that's all you do to make a data table. And I think I should have done it like this. Excuse me for not copying the right thing. So we're just going to put it, I'm going to put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we say, okay, take that from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And let me explain what's in here. This is the cells function. And the way the cells function works is you put the row in, and this row is increasing. So we put that start row, and then we keep increasing it. It goes up by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you know what I should have done? I think I need a -1 in here. Excuse me, because we start with 1 and we go forward. Okay, excuse me. And then you put the different column in. And remember, I defined the start column. And I said, we define the start row and the start column from the range names here. Okay, and then we keep on going to the same result row. That doesn't get incremented. Notice here, this is the row and then the column. Row, column, row, column, row, column, row, column. this is row, and it's always the same. It doesn't go up, so you always look in the same row. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn the video off because I probably made some stupid mistake. And this is table. Okay, so just a minute. Now I, of course, made a mistake, but a very minor one. I didn't define this result row as a range name, okay? And then I took off the goal seek. Okay, and then I just ran the table. And you just run the table, and it goes around. Maybe I should have erased the table at first. But the interesting thing is just how dramatic these kind of structuring things affect the IRRs. And let's just focus on these for a minute. So we had a longer average life, and then we had a much lower IRR, and then in this case we ran into a debt to capital constraint. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a development fee. Let's put a really base development fee of maybe 150 and a really aggressive development fee of 250. How's that? And then we can compute the table again. Oh, this time that was too crazy almost. Let's put 200 here. Maybe that's probably still going to be too crazy because we have no equity. Oh, shoot. I'm going to put 150. Excuse me for this. 100. Okay, so. And it's still not working. Shoot. And I'm about to give up the project IRR. Let's put down a little. Okay, I have to push this up to put the project IRR down a little, and then we compute the table again. I think that's okay to show you some variables are outside the table. Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm not getting it. All right. Okay. And what a waste of your time. Okay, good. We have 55% IRR. But now the real question comes as to which is the variable that's causing it to happen. Notice now we're always kind of using Dscr as a constraint because we put the development fee in, and you can start to see what's really happening and what drives these things and which variable is the most important and which is the least important. Now I did a standard kind of tornado diagram here where we just take variables one by one. I have something wrong with the conditional formatting, which I'm not going to worry. I'm going to press Shift-Alt-C, and I'm going to color the sheet. Why don't we do that at least? Okay, so we see what's an input again. Now, I guess these are all fixed numbers, so they show up as inputs, so what? Okay, and then we can make our tornado diagram. So this, of course, changes one variable at a time. It only changes the base case. And we can see, okay, when we only change this, the base case is here. I think maybe we put a Shift-Control-7 here to really highlight this, which is, again, you can do now. And then you can see which is causing the, when I put in the aggressive case, which is the variable that's really causing the biggest change, and it looks like, in this case, it's interesting. The credit spread, when we, and I should show you what I did. Now, whenever I put a scenario in, I'll just always put the kind of a time series variables in separately. Why in the heck did this? Oh, okay. Make it wider, but whatever. We put 1, 2, or 3. This 1, 2, or 3 is just an index number, so we can either have a fixed margin or increasing margin or decreasing margin. When it's a fixed margin, that seems to be really one of the big drivers. When you don't assume the increases, when you basically implicitly assume you're going to refinance. And then we can put different interest rates. That had an even bigger effect. And then the development fee, which I just increased a little. Okay. Yeah, that didn't have any effect because we're using the Dscr. It shouldn't have had an effect. Good. Okay, and then we can do our standard kind of, you know, thing where we say, okay, here's the variables we're going to change. Now I can't do this, I suppose, anymore with just a transpose function. So, oh no, I'm going to have to copy paste specialist transpose probably. Oh God, that's not nice to have to do that, but what the heck. Okay, and then let's put this in here, and these always compare the one case to the base case, the one case to the base case. The debt to capital didn't matter because we didn't have it. The Dscr, that mattered here somewhat. The tenor mattered more. The credit spread mattered a whole bunch, and the interest rate, I guess we changed the interest rate too much. And then, as usual, we just press F11, and we go and make a bar chart. But this shows, I think I haven't done this much. I've done this way too much in credit kind of things, but this kind of shows you what's going on now. The credit spread I have to look at, but we have the development fee. I think I put the wrong kind of scenarios in here. Okay, I'm going to fix that after the video. Okay, and then we can also, I'll leave this. Okay, we can also, once we have this, we can use the same kind of approach. Now, in these variables, I just compare the variable at the top, the number of the variable, and if it's the same, we use the aggressive case or the conservative case, and we use a transpose function and all that. And in this one, I say if it's greater than or equal, and then we kind of have a cumulative thing. And I think I'm going to pause the video for a minute, because then we can say, okay, well, let's get from the, we start with, I guess, this is the whole aggressive case, I'm sorry, and we're getting down to the base case. Oh, I did it backwards. Excuse me, I think I should have said, well, if this is greater than this, let me put less. Control D, Control R. Yes. Yes. Okay, and this I should have put less than or equal to, and I'm not. I'm so self-conscious about this. Whoever it is giving me all this crap. Control D. Oops. Control D. Control R to copy it, and now we're cumulating. So it starts with we start with a base case, then go to the aggressive case, and then the aggressive case on 2 variables, aggressive case on 3 variables, aggressive case on 4 variables, and again, it's just saying, okay, let's look at, we just do it with the little code numbers. When this is less than or equal to the one at the top, then go to the aggressive case, otherwise remain on the base case. And so it's less than or equal, that's still less than or equal, and that's also less than or equal, but this is not. And then we keep going down. And then we can start, make a little build-up table where we do the same kind of thing. We'll start with the Dscr, and let's start with a base case, okay? And we'll go up, and let's see how we get from, oh no, of course I have to rerun the table. Okay. Now, as I'm doing this, please, with the whole thing could be done just as easily with, I'm going to copy this and call it, I called that one no goal. I'm going to call this one now, I'll put table with the goal seek. Okay, and all we do is we take out, we just, every time we change the scenario, we do a goal seek. Of course, the data table in Excel wouldn't work like that. So you just right click, you go to assign macro, you go to the one called, in this workbook, come on, table, table goal seek. Okay, I'm not going to run that one now. What we would do is we would put a target IRR and just recompute the goal seek each time. And then instead of, we could do almost the same analysis, except this one will look at the LCOE or the target tariff or whatever you want to call that and see what the impact of the structuring is on all of those variables. And I think that's another interesting thing to do. So we put in the base case. Okay, and then there's our IRR in the base case. And then we go to the next case and we say, okay, we're just going to put a more aggressive Dscr, and I'm going to compare that one to the base case. And then I just put on all our other variables, okay? Whoops, I put a minus. We just put in all the other variables we're doing. Some of these have no effect, remember. Too many of them have no effect, but whatever. And then now for the next case, I think, we just take the prior case. So the next case was the debt to capital case, which didn't have any effect. That's fine because we had the DSCR constraint. And then we just compare that. Now, and then we finally, then we have the aggressive case. Now, and then we can just, if you add these up, alt equal, you get the same number. We get the same number. We've just accumulated them. The order does matter here. Now, I'm going to use my old method, but in Excel now, of course, there's, in the 2016, you can go to the chart and make a kind of waterfall diagram, and I'm embarrassed to say I can't get one little thing working on that. I'm sure it's just my fault, not theirs. So instead, I'm going to go to courses, and I'm going to go to chapter 1 and Excel utilities, and I'm going to get the ones from waterfall, the waterfall charts. Okay, and when you get that waterfall chart, it gives you kind of the directions. Maybe the Excel thing is better. I'm not denying that. Unfortunately, Shift Control V. I'm going to continue and make the graph. It kind of gives me just, and then I'll put okay. And it's a funny kind of looking graph, but it shows you the extreme, effects of some variables and less of others. Now, I could reformat this and all that, but I'm not going to waste too much time. How about Control E? Oops. No, Shift Control E, excuse me. And then if I said I wasn't going to do this, and if we put 0 for the bar width, and we, make it a little bigger, and then we put other modifications, and we change the label spacing and put it a little higher. Whoops, and I got the wrong thing. Okay, so I'm going to leave it and X out of this, but okay, you can get the idea, all right? All right, and that's some of the scenario analysis. I have to look at the credit spread. Let me pause the video and just finish that, and then I'll end it. Okay, I had an error just in a little if statement here, and that's what caused the problem with the tornado diagram. Now, we could do the same sort of tornado diagram. Let's insert a couple of lines, and I'm going to turn it off. All I'm going to do this time is I'm going to make the same diagram, but this time we'll each time we do it, we'll do a goal seek, and we'll say we need 15% is way too high on IRR. That's great. Oops, I didn't realize I go by increments of 5. So let's make it IRR of 10. So we do a goal seek, and then we redo the data table. This time, it just goes through, and when you do the goal seek, use the NPV at the target IRR. Otherwise, you might get it round and around. So much better to use the IRR. I haven't emphasized that enough. And then we get all these different LCOEs, and I'm going to simply, I suppose we could do all our charts with the different LCOEs. Okay, but let's do it quickly here, okay, and put the different DSCRs in here. Now, it might be the case that the SIBOR is just the interest rate in Saudi Arabia, where I obviously did this thing for a very, very nice class. I wish you would take a class of mine sometimes. So what we do is we just compare the aggressive case versus, not that one, the LCOE in the aggressive case versus the base case, okay? I guess it's going down this time, that's fine. And of course I should have pressed the F4, and we see which item makes the LCOE go down, and then we can do the same thing and go up to our conservative case, and that's just, again, illustrating what you could do with the structuring, and we subtract from that the LCOE in the base case, same kind of thing, okay, and just, oops, press this down, all right, Control D, and we can see which, in these cases, it's all driven, of course, unfortunately, I wish I could make some wonderful conclusions about this. I'm not really, but, you know, we can see which is, in at least given these assumptions, you can do kind of a structuring analysis and see which is affecting your bid the most. The development fee wasn't, because in one case the debt to capital started having an effect. I can't see the things here, but that's enough. That's enough. Okay, 27 minutes. Sorry about the